From the IMTV Wave Channel 5 studio at Greenville Senior High School, home of the Greenville Green Wave, the Greenville Veterans Memorial Park and Digital Library proudly presents Never Stop Serving.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Never Stop Serving. Once again, I am your host, Samuel Plock. This series is sponsored by Greenville High School's wonderful interactive medias class in the Veterans Memorial Park and Digital Library. Today we have a very special guest with us today, which I just became good friends with, Stephen Wyke. Stephen is the 3rd District VFW Ohio Chaplain. Please welcome him to the show. Stephen, please tell us about your origin story, where you grew up, your parents, and your life.
Wow. Thank you, Sam, and I deeply appreciate the invitation to be with you here in Greenville. I was number 7 of 9 children, born in North Carolina. Unfortunately, I'm the only surviving sibling right now. And I went into the military in 1961.
That was the year Legos came to the United States.
Oh, you're ahead of me on that.
Yeah, they originated in Denmark, and then they first started period co-distributed in America by Samsonite in 1961.
Wow, that's interesting. I'm celebrating something with Legos there.
Yes.
I went into the Army. I grew up in North Carolina and also Norfolk, Virginia. I went into the Army in 1961. I was enlisted, went on a tour of duty in Okinawa, and my first tour to Vietnam, I was selected to go to officer candidate school. And so in 1966, I graduated from Fort Benning, Georgia, 2nd Lieutenant in the infantry, and went on there from Airborne Ranger Special Forces, returning to Vietnam for another year as a commander of a unit there in Canton, small unit, and then also Germany with the 10th Special Forces Group. So I had a total of 12 years, a lot of experience with Special Forces. You asked me about high school. I went to Biloxi High School in Biloxi, Mississippi, and that sums it up real quick on the things I experienced as a kid. I was the only one who chose to make a lengthy career out of the Army. We did have Air Force family members, Coast Guard. One of my brothers, my older brother did in fact retire from the Coast Guard, but the rest of us, they weren't interested in the military at that time.
Did you take ROTC in your high school?
No, I did not. Just had regular high school classes, and I went in. My mother signed for me to go in when I was 17.
Wow.
So that.
You would have been fresh out of high school.
Absolutely. Yes. Interesting experience. What else can I tell you? I enjoyed the military. It gave us a lot of opportunities for careers. Those of us who had limited opportunities in civilian life, the military offered all sorts of trades for us. In my case, when I first went in, it was Nike Hercules Missile Crewman, which was a good school in technology for me, a technical school. And I served on a couple of batteries with the Nike Hercs. But I enjoyed the infantry. I wanted to be an airborne paratrooper, and I had plenty of opportunities for that. And I had opportunities to serve in the airborne Vietnamese airborne guys with us during our tour in Vietnam. I enjoyed taking my guitar with me. And believe it or not, there's a picture on my website that I have me playing the guitar to the Vietnamese kids out in the boonies when I was in Vietnam, my 2nd tour. And people have always been of interest to me. And as I mentioned to you prior to the interview about the logo, the pen, De Oppresso Liber, to liberate the oppressed, that is what drew me to Special Forces, because they did a lot of civic action things, building communities, village industry. We had a lot of activities going on, even in the combat zone, helping people build up their villages, take care of the children during the Tet holidays that we had, making sure the kids had plenty of things, goodies, and did not miss out on celebrating this particular season that they enjoyed very much. The military offered a lot for me. Many schools I was able to go to, and it was just an amazing experience, and I enjoy sharing those with others and encouraging our young people to take advantage of a couple, 3, 4 years to expose them to a world of travel.
Yes.
I got to travel to Okinawa, I got to travel to Vietnam a couple times, Germany, and you learn to pick up a little bit of the language when you visit these countries and begin to understand how other people live. And it's very wonderful.
Come to think of it, I had a dream last night. I'm not kidding. I had this dream that I went to Japan and visited there, and I had the power. You've heard of Power Rangers, right? Well, they're based off of the Super Sentai series in Japan, and there's also Super Sentai Sister Series Kamen Rider, which were both created by the same guy, Shotaro Shiomori. Well, I had a dream that I had the power to transform into any of those superheroes, those mask costume superheroes, and then I'm sitting here talking to you today, and you've been to Japan, among other things. Isn't that strange?
And I also retired from Honda, a Japanese company. So I worked with the Japanese for years. Wonderful people, and the company that hired me treated me beautifully, and I'm very grateful for that experience with Honda, the company I worked for. What else can I share with you that's...
How many schools did you get into through your military service?
We were always taking courses, refreshing courses in the Nike Herc. Of course, within the Airborne, you had that 3 weeks. Within Special Forces, you had an ongoing programs in leadership. Especially as a young lieutenant, you wanted to learn as much as you could, and they always provided training for you. The career non-commissioned officers, I give credit to them for helping me through my combat experiences and for encouraging me when things did not go exactly as you would like them to have gone.
As things often do.
As they often do, Sam. But I'm very grateful for those NCOs who served with me and made it possible for me to grow in the ranks. And they were responsible for me entering into officer candidate school. And it was NCOs who trained us in jump school. It was non-commissioned officers who trained us in OCS. It was non-commissioned officers who trained us in Special Forces at Fort Bragg. So when we look at our non-commissioned officers, we have to be very grateful for these dedicated men with whom I'm still able to work with, some of them, at the Veterans Administration campus in Dayton, where we were able to serve at the National Cemetery in providing the final salute for our veterans who are buried in the National Cemetery and are honorably discharged, of course, and deserve the full Department of Defense
the celebrations,
the
benefits,
the benefits from their service. And it's a privilege to be on the teams that provide the rifle salute for these amazing men and women, for which I'm most grateful.
Wow. To get into the military service, if you really think about it, with people not working as much anymore, there's a great need for everything now because COVID happened and people were convinced, it seems like, to stay inside during the pandemic. But now, since COVID is pretty much over, maybe a few spots or touches here and there, but What would you say to those kind of youngsters who always wanted to get involved in military service but can't find an outlet to get there?
Wow. There's a lot of service to be rendered in local communities because not everyone can go into service. I think we're well aware of that. Not everyone wants to be involved in frontline activities. Bear in mind that there's a lot of local things, local activities and local businesses that people can be involved with that support developing citizenry in support of your country, in support of your neighbor. We recommend you begin with your family. You do what you can to support your family, take care of your responsibilities, and then try to volunteer if you can in community to do something that's going to be very rewarding through the food kitchen, through helping people build homes who do not have the homes, they can't afford them, or providing clothing, encouragement, sometimes just counseling for people who've gone through a rough time. And COVID did present some challenges for us, Sam.
Oh, yes.
You know, they really did. And some people have separated themselves from others because we were separated because of the requirements, masking and all this. But to step out of yourself, get involved in a community activity.
Step outside your comfort zone.
Absolutely. Yeah, obviously you've done that, and I'm proud of you. I just met you, but I think you're well on your way.
Thank you.
And our young people here who are in the studio with us today, you're an answer to the problems that many of the adults have caused. You're going to solve the problems that we may have caused you, because you're a little bit smarter, I think, in some cases than we were when we created difficulties for you. But look at your community, look at what's available for you. Help where you can, begin with your family, of course. And there's all kinds of volunteer things out there. Crisis Center, volunteer for the veterans. Our veterans have a lot of needs when they get out of service, so I suggest folks consider some veteran support organization that encourages these men and women who have been damaged by experience to seek the help that is there through the Veterans Administration system.
And they do deserve more than they are given. I mean, you guys fought for us. And yet there are people out there that treat them like crap and go like, that's just like say you did a sucky job. It's like that kind of treatment.
Sometimes it gets pretty rough.
Yeah, I read about Vietnam, and I had a relative on my mom's side. He's now deceased, but he served in Vietnam, and he remembered that when the soldiers came home from Vietnam, they were spat at, mistreated, and oh my God.
Some folks have bad stories to tell, but you know, I really don't. I was a soldier. I returned 3 or 4 times from overseas trips, obviously, and I guess I had that look on my face like you don't want to mess with me or something, because
you were brave.
I didn't really have that sort of encounter with our civilians who may have been disenchanted with the military involvement in the Vietnam era war. I say to the soldiers who served, you served, and to the airmen and the rest of our service members, you served, you did your part, and many of you have paid a very serious price for your willingness, and don't stop serving.
No matter what.
We have veterans right now who are injured, who are old, who still serve with the Honor Squad. They're still out there 1 day a week or 1 day a month honoring a deceased veteran, and some of them have trouble walking distances, but they're going to be there to give respect and honor to a brother or sister who served with them on active duty. And this is what we encourage. There seems to be something in life, if you're busy helping other people, you become less overly concerned with yourself. And perhaps we remember it's more blessed to give than to receive. This is something many of us have been taught. And in giving, we learn to receive gracefully. And I tell my kids all the time, I've not given up on receiving things, so get busy and buy me stuff. And they do. They spoil me.
Oh, could we have the next slide, please? Well, I tell you, we touch on a lot of points, but tell us again, what branch of the service did you serve for, and how long did you serve?
I served 12 years in the Army, and a good portion of that was with the Army Special Forces. And a lot of people are familiar with what Special Forces, actually each service has a Special Forces. The Navy has the Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
The Marines have a recon, I guess, or maybe there's another more active combat-oriented branch that I'm not familiar with. Then, of course, we have the Air Force units that do special recovery and rescue. And then, of course, the Army has the Green Berets. But we're all under that umbrella of Special Forces, providing men and material for immediately required action and for special action. So it's nice to serve with these groups. I've come in contact with many of the folks of these special units, and I'm very proud to have been part of the Green Beret, as it was one of the best jobs I had during my 12 years. And I did everything from clerk typist to range instructor, missile crewman, A-team leader, S5 staff officer in Vietnam, staff officer under the command of Hal Moore, General Moore, who was the commander at Fort Ord. General Moore was the one presented, or Mel Gibson portrayed the colonel in We Were Soldiers.
Yeah.
That colonel, when he became a general, was my boss at Fort Ord, California.
Wow.
So, and he was a soldier. I think we all thought the world of General Moore. So that was different jobs. Every officer is usually given extra duties as well.
Yes.
And, because I volunteered with the Suicide Prevention Center in Monterey, where I served there for a couple years, Monterey, California. Because as an officer, you have to set the example, and as our NCOs do, senior NCOs also do, in giving a little something back to the community.
Yes.
You serve your men, you take care of the people you work with, but you also try to do something in the local community to show your job is to serve anyway.
Yes.
So that pretty much takes care of real fast military, 12 years.
Yes. Do you have a special memories or experiences that you'd like to share with us?
I have lots of them. In Germany was a wonderful experience for me. Not only was I able to initially be the head of an A-team, but later to be given duties as Special Services Officer, which meant I was permitted to coordinate activities for the use of our facilities by those within the German community, the German police, others that needed access to the gym that we had there, to the swimming pool, and I got to work with all these folks. I also was able to organize a band, help to organize a band in Bad Tolz, Germany, and we would go into the nursing homes, or Krankenhaus, I guess is the sick house they would refer to it, and put on shows for the veterans, the German veterans of World War II who were there. So we got a group together dressed like cowboys and Indians. The Germans at Fasching's time, they dressed like cowboys and Indians.
Really?
I'm not kidding you. They love the Wild West stories from America. So we dressed like cowboys and Indians and entered this big hall. People were screaming because we were hooping and hollering, sounding like crazy Indians and cowboys chasing them. We get on the stage and we start singing some good old Mountain Dew song in English and in German. You couldn't even hear the recording of the activity for all the noise and applauding and shouting going on by the Germans. And we had a wonderful time every time we went to the Krankenhaus to put on shows, and we spoke German pretty good, so they thought we were just a bunch of German kids.
Wow.
Doing that too. It was a wonderful experience to cheer people up, even though those that were on the opposite side during World War II, they were there in their wheelchairs and appreciated being encouraged at the end of their lives. So
Yes.
it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah, I did that. You guys acted, and I do some acting through Dark County Civic Theater outside from my McDonald's job and doing this.
Oh, we gotta come up and support you.
Yes. If I can get a hold of your contact information, I'll let you know when the next melodrama I'll be in for perhaps Annie Oakley days if I get cast.
You better. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yes. Could you explain the 4 chaplains to us?
I don't have all the information on the 4 chaplains. This was during World War II. I hope I didn't get this messed up. We celebrate these 4 chaplains. I think there was 1 Catholic, 2 Protestant, and a Jewish chaplain who sacrificed their lives when the ship had been hit they were on. They gave their life vest to the others, and as the ship went down, these 4 chaplains were there together, ending the life together. I'll give you the full story on it. It kind of slipped my mind right now. I should have prepared for it, and I apologize for that.
That's okay.
But it was an amazing example of men who did serve as different religions within the military, but at the end, they gave everything they had to save the lives of others. And I think that's the essence of this. So every year in the American Legion organization, we have this celebration, and it's wonderful, good memory.
It is beautiful, isn't it? I'll tell you, they were really brave.
Anytime you're willing to lay down your life for somebody else, but something happens, Sam, when you get into a difficult situation and you're with a group of brothers, or in some cases, the Vietnamese had women who fought alongside as well. When you're with people, you're focusing on the same thing, getting a particular mission accomplished, and to take care of each other. You just don't worry about this personal safety factor.
Yeah.
It just doesn't come up. It's there, yes, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't there. But you have a mission, you got to take care of each other, and you see something out there greater than yourself, and you want to do that. There's a gentleman here from this part, Doug Dickey. He was a young Marine in Vietnam, and he was a medic. He had a group of Marines in this area. From what I understand, he was taking care of them as a corpsman, and somebody threw a hand grenade into this area. He jumped on this hand grenade, absorbed the shock, killed him, and I believe he got some serious recognition for laying down his life to protect his men who were already wounded anyway.
Yes.
And so
That name sounds familiar.
yeah, they named part of a highway over here in this area,
Yes.
Greenville area, for Doug Dickey.
Yes.
And his brother is the commander of the American Legion in Ansonia,
Wow.
Denny Dickey. So,
Oh, could you tell us about your hat and the symbol on it?
oh, this is the Green Beret, and this was the flag of Vietnam, which goes behind my rank as captain. And this is the flash. Every unit, if you're serving in different areas of the world, you'll have a different flash behind your rank. So that's that. You ask about what I do on Friday at the VA.
Yeah.
I'm a member of the firing, I say firing squad, they say no, honors squad, okay. Because we're not firing on anybody.
Yeah, that would just be
The
weird.
rifle salute, we have to have at least 3 people, have a commander makes 4, squad leader makes 5, and the signal given to us from the squad leader, we provide the rifle salute to the deceased, and then the taps will play. Sometimes I do the chaplain's role also to try to comfort the family to the extent possible. And that's it, that's my Friday activity. I think this Friday we're going to have 4 or 5, probably 4 services we'll do at the gravesite out there. And any of you would like to come out and visit and see what we do, especially young people who may be going into ROTC programs later on, we invite you to come out and take a look at what we do and why we honor those who served our country.
Yes.
That's what I do on Fridays.
What do you see as the biggest issue for the VFW today?
Membership. Many young people are involved in so many things from Afghanistan, those who were in Afghanistan or Iraq and served overseas under these horrible conditions. But the interest that was once there in the veterans of foreign war has sometimes, it's waxed and waned a little bit. So
Yeah.
we're trying to promote the membership in the veterans of foreign war and promote everything that the organization is involved with. Some people get the wrong impression that service clubs are just a place where you go and drink. Well, I'm not a drinker, so when I'm there for meetings or there to work with families who...
That's something I have in common with you because I've never smoked a joint or taken a sip of alcohol in my life, and I'm proud of it because I was taught in 4th grade that stuff is not very healthy for you.
Well, as I told my kids, I destroyed a lot of marijuana, but I never smoked it either. They said, you're in Vietnam 2 years and you never... I was busy working. I didn't have time for that sort of activity.
Yeah.
Some of my men, when I came back to the States, and I would discover marijuana on them, and I didn't prosecute them. They were kids. They had to learn. I'd make them go over to the dumpster and watch me burn it. And
Yeah.
that was enough. We can't have that in the military at that time. And
Unfortunately, there are people who want to see marijuana legalized.
I try to stay out of anything political, religiously oriented, because I have my feelings. I'm not interested in that sort of thing.
Understandable.
Some of our veterans, though, are receiving medicinal marijuana because of the trauma they went through. And so, I guess there's some good use out there for
Well,
somebody who
touche.
needs- Yeah. Thankfully, I'm not that bad.
Yeah.
Special events coming up that I may want to share with you. Visit the VA campus if you have an opportunity, especially those who may have a few hours a week.
At this time, I need FCS to go down to the gym for yearbook photos. That's FCS. Thank you.
Okay, we'll start again. Do you have any special events or information you'd like to share with our viewers?
I continue to promote Honor Squad. I do this because it's service-oriented. Those who have never served on active duty but want to experience the rifle and firing, we induct you into the squad. We make you a member. We treat you as if you served 100 years on active duty. We turn you into a soldier or a rifleman so you can do your job, and you don't have to have been in the service to serve on the Honor Squad. If you have a desire to serve your fellow man and to recognize veterans who sometimes gave a lot, and you're welcome to team up with that and join that. I'm an interfaith chaplain since I got out of the service, and I do a lot of weddings and memorials for our veterans and also for people in community, because I enjoy people, I appreciate people. So I try to maintain my credentials by working with families through difficult periods, and also performing marriages if called upon to do so. And so far, most of them stay together, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Yes,
When you get old enough, get married, give me a call.
I will. Yeah, I've always wanted to get married ever since I was in kindergarten, believe it or not.
Did you have a first grade teacher that did?
No, I wouldn't go that far because that would have been icky. Thank you. Well, I'll tell you, Steve, it's been a pleasure talking with you, and thank you for your awesome service to our country and to
Thank
the
you,
world at
Sam.
large.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate you inviting me to come up and speak with you.
Well, thanks once again.
Thank you. Nice meeting you, Sam.
Nice to meet you too, Steve. Here at Never Stop Serving, we highlight veterans that continue to serve beyond their military service. Please watch for new episodes of Never Stop Serving. This is another full-packed season. Stay tuned, folks. We are doing great things here with the Veterans Memorial Park and Digital Library. Please, I beg you, Steve begged you, please help us and support us in whatever way you can. Also, please continue to watch the Veterans Memorial Park and Digital Library's Facebook page for all coming events and updates. If you are a veteran and would like to share your story, please send us an email at gvmpdl@gmail.com. That's gvmpdl@gmail.com. Send us anything you like, folks. Share your story, talk to us, and try to get on the show. Thank you for watching today, folks. This is Samuel Plock, signing off.
Thank you for watching. Please visit us on our social media sites. Please consider contributing to our mission in some way. Also, we are always looking for veterans and their families to share their stories with us. Be sure to join us next week for our next episode of Never Stop Serving.